Everyone sits around now saying, got a New Year's resolution. They're bullshit.
Goals most people fail at. They're getting painful.
Everyone has different goals.
They don't have the measured outcome they're trying to get to.
That's vital to your investment journey. Here's what you need to do today. Every day, someone can do something to be on the way to their goal.
Hold them accountable. Then goals become a reality.
Welcome back to Brick to the Future. I'm Lewison. I'm here with Cam McLellan.
Hey, mate.
How are you?
Very well.
This one actually is a bit of a time machine into the future because I think they're releasing it in the new year and we're filming it before the new year.
It is. It's, what is it, a couple of days before Chrissy now, and we want to talk about New Year's resolutions and why they're absolute fucking jokes.
Yeah, well, they're gonna pump this out in the future for us, and part of the reason we're able to do that is that many years ago we set ourselves some goals.
Yeah.
We started investing because we had a vision for what our life would look like, and it didn't look like it was looking at the time. So we've made steps, we've invested, and we both take all of January off every year. So
yeah.
You're hearing this, we're not really there, we're away, but hope you enjoy it. We thought it was a really good time to talk about, as Cam said, everyone sits around now saying, got a New Year's resolution. They're bullshit. 95% of them fail in the first month. But there is something that comes from it, and that is called goal setting and planning, which is sort of wrapped around that, and that's vital to your investment journey.
Yeah, I think if I go back to what was really important to me, and this really crystallised it for me, and I know you had a different strategy the way you looked at goal setting. Goals most people fail at. They set a goal and fail at it because they don't have an action plan put in place. Obviously, being in business and property investing is a business, you need to look at it that way. You have to have set steps that get you to a measured outcome. So everyone works in any workplace, there's systems and processes that give measured outcomes. But it amazes me in people's life, they don't have the measured outcome they're trying to get to and then the simple process to get there. So what I created was what I call my life quadrants, if you remember this one. This is going back for a while. But I basically split in a page into 4 and I wrote what lifestyle I want. So how much year I want to be on holidays, and my answer was I want all school holidays off to spend with my future kids that I didn't have yet, but I wanted to be able to go on holidays whenever I wanted. I wanted to have enough time to spend with Felicity and our relationship. So lifestyle was the first one. Relationship was the second quadrant that I put down. Health, I wanted an hour to 2 hours a day to spend on exercise and making sure I looked after myself. And then it was really easy. So they're the 3 quadrants, lifestyle, relationship and health. It was really easy then to quantify how much money I needed per year, and that then set the steps required to get to that amount of money and what I needed to do. And investing was my journey to get there. So I think at the time I set down I needed $200,000 a year passive in income, and I was 19 years old back then, so I was pretty ambitious. Seeing I think I was earning about 100,000. Yeah, threepence. Yeah, but I know you had a different strategy you used to use with setting your goals. You remember that?
Yeah, mine was more about visualisation. So I'd put things around the house, particularly the mirror. So in the morning, brushing your teeth, you can read what your goal is, read what your objective is and why you're doing it. That would just help me every day focus on what I need to do that day. And at that point in time, it was pretty simple. It was get as much knowledge on property into my mind as I could. So every day, you and I obviously spend a lot of time back and forth chatting about, I heard this, have you heard that? What do you think this means? And sort of honing our strategy. But for me, it was that reminder of here's why I'm doing it and here's what you need to do today to be on that step. Because it's pretty easy to go, it's a long way off and I can't do it. But every day someone can do something to be on the way to their goal.
Yeah, so our clients are held accountable. What they pay us to do and the team members to do is to develop goals with them, but then hold them accountable to every step to reach that goal. And we charge a good amount of money, but the outcome for our client's amazing. So it's a win-win situation. So I'm looking through, one of the team members just put under my nose, Chris, who I know had a goal, joined OpenCorp in 2024 as a client in January, purchased a property which we selected for $566,000 and $566,900. And today they've just had a valuation come in at $660,000, so a $93,100 increase in value in 1 year. Now that's a bank panel valuation, so the actual value of the thing is probably higher than that. But when I'm looking at Chris's goals from the goal sheet when he first filled it out January 24 to the one he's just filled out now when he's done the goal review with our portfolio management team, the first goal was I want 3 properties in 10 years. His goal 12 months later after this is I want 3 properties in 4 years. So you can see why you can, by actively looking at your goals and putting steps in place, being able to achieve those becomes a lot more realistic. Once you get to that first step, then goals become a reality as opposed to this bullshit that you think about and never do.
I asked some questions about Chris because buying the property is not the start of the goal. It's probably almost the conclusion of step one of your goals.
Very true.
His first goal was understanding how to draw equity out of his own property. He'd owned his house for 3 years. He'd heard about equity release. He didn't know how to do it. He didn't know what to do. His first goal that he said drove him to actually do something was understanding that.
Yeah, so I think he couldn't understand what equity was, which is the increased value or the profit or price growth in his own home. So understanding what that equity is and then realising, because most people, and this I think is what stops a lot of people investing, is they think they've got to save for another deposit. Saving for your first home deposit is fucking painful. You know, getting that first deposit together. I remember when my first deposit, getting that together, I'd saved a bit of money. I sold my car, as you know, rode a bike for 9 months just to, build up that next deposit. So it was a lot of hell. I didn't go to a cafe till I was 25, 26 years old. So spending was pretty frugal back then. But once Chris didn't understand, he'd heard the term, and I think he'd watched one of our videos, but he heard the term equity release and didn't understand it. He thought he had to save for another deposit. So you're right, his first learning goal was, how do I release equity, which the team did a nice diagram on how to access that and use that for the deposit for an investment property, which has now earned him $93,100 in 1 year.
At this day and age, it still surprises me that people don't understand what I take for granted, it's like breathing, is drawing equity out of your house.
Yeah.
So for anyone who's listening who's owned a home for, let's call it 3 years, probably 2, but let's say 3 years or more, you've got a deposit for an investment property.
You're ready to go.
You've got a deposit. There's 40-year mortgages now. Affordability is getting better than ever. The market's improving. You've just got to understand how to get your hands on it and get in the market.
Yeah, the other big thing, so you're right, all right, so if we've dispelled the myth of how to get hold of your next deposit, if you had a home for 2 to 3 years, the next thing people can't get their head around is the difference between good debt and bad debt and the repayments. They think that they look at the repayments on their own home, which are astronomical, and what they've got one source to pay it off, which is your wage, whereas an investment property, if you're using 20% equity, it's cash flow positive in today's day and age. If you're chucking in 90%, we're getting a 90% loan to value ratio, so you're putting a 10% deposit in, it might cost you $100 out of your back pocket per week. And so we're not talking about large amounts of money. So, and that's because the tenant and the government help chip in for the rest of it. So the risk involved, and that's good debt because it goes up in value as opposed to bad debt.
Well, it's someone helping to pay it off for you. And a little sneak peek, one of my current goals is that I get 8% rental growth in my portfolio in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
So you can't do it every year, but right now there's sort of a perfect storm with rental vacancies all-time low across the country. I'm chasing 8% growth across every property. So everyone has different goals, but that just helps the affordability piece for someone who's trying to get in the market or wants a second, third, fourth property.
Yeah.
There's extra income to help them pay for it.
So if we go back to the core of what this podcast is obviously going to come out pretty close around New Year's. People will be thinking about the New Year's resolution. It used to be stop smoking 20 years ago. Most people have done that nowadays. But if we're thinking about a financial goal, you can use my method if you want, which is just basically work out the lifestyle you want, relationships, how much time you want to spend on health, but how much money really, how much money do you need in passive income and in what time frame? And once you've got that, you can sit down with one of the team members and go through exactly the steps required.
So it's probably a good point before we wrap it up, is we talk to clients, we help them set their goals.
Yeah.
Nearly every client who sits down with the team and we get to the goals phase of the discussion is, what's your goal? And they sort of look a bit blank-faced and dumbfounded. I don't know, help me out. What is it? What's your goal? Help me. And most people land on replace my income.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one because it gives you options.
And the reason it's a good starting point is, and like yours was, you want your 200K passive, you work backwards to go, this means I need that many properties. Yep. When can I buy them? What's the roadmap look like? And when will I get there?
Yep.
So the first step is having a clear understanding of why, a vision, and then a plan to get there.
Yeah, and it took me a fraction over 10 years. But that was 20 years ago now, so that was a large amount of money. So, but if I can afford it, leaving home at 16 and working every dead end job and having to grind to get there, then anyone can do it in Australia.
Cam has actually had the most jobs of any human I've ever come across. I'm still to this day shocked. The other day we were walking. He's like, I didn't tell you I walked in a kite shop once. Like, there's this random, never-ending amount of jobs.
I did. I worked a summer in a kite shop in Lakes Entrance.
What was some of the worst ones? You fell off a truck once.
Fell off a garbage truck once. Back in the days when garbage trucks were in metal tins and they were thrown into the back of I think I was seeing a girl at the time, and I'd go to her house till midnight or something like that, and then I'd go to work at 3 a.m, and so I was having about 2 or 3 hours sleep doing this 2 or 3 nights in a row, and I remember hanging onto the back of the garbage truck, and I sort of nodded off, and I was standing up, and I remember waking up and going, fuck, I just fell asleep on the back of a garbage truck. Next thing I know, I'm rolling down the road, busted my knee up and my thumb. But yes, I've had a few jobs. But I did that. I actually worked at a tip, sorting out recycling. I worked like in flipping burgers in Newton. You know, I don't know how many jobs. It's an insane amount of jobs. Driving forklifts and doing massage and all sorts of stuff. Legitimate massage.
So you can see why, for Cam, at an early stage, he's like, I need to sort this shit out. I need to get some goals. I need to get some direction. And he did his quadrants. And that gave him his outcome he needed, which was his 200,000 to cover all those things he wanted. And away he went. He could stop falling asleep on trucks and flying kites.
Yeah, well, that year I was living in a house with there's 5 other blokes in Elwood in Melbourne, so it was a ripping year. But I knew I had to save. That was my saving year. While I was partying a lot, I was working to the point where one of my mates goes, "Hey mate, you got your wrong clothes on." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You're on the forklift shift tonight, and I'm putting my shirt on to go to the supermarket and do my supermarket shift." So I was working so many jobs, just cramming together a deposit. That was my one focus, just to get that first deposit together, and I've never paid for another one. So like Chris now understands, releasing equity gives you your 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th deposit.
But you got to get the first one.
Get the first one. If you've had your home for 2 or 3 years, contact the team and they can sort you out.
Thanks for tuning in. Any questions or topics you'd like covered, hello@opencorp.com.au. Don't forget to click and subscribe. Happy New Year, Cam.
Happy
Thanks
New
for
Year,
today.
mate. No worries.